Go. One, two, three. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's Friday, y'all. And I'm Brother L. Welcome to Brother L's Beatmaking Sessions, where we learn, share, and collaborate with electronic music. Yes, we're making beats together. And normally what I like to do to start off the sessions is have a little collaborative piece that I perform. And let's do it. Come on. Go. Here we go. Uh-huh. Come on now. Break it down. Uh-huh. Whoa! Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh. And here we go. Yes, indeed. Like I say, welcome once again. As a quick check-in, drop what city you're viewing from in the comments. I'd like to know where you're at so we can know where we're going together, right? Today, we're going to go a little bit further with sound design and understanding effects, arrangement, and embellishments for our music. Yes, indeed, where we're going with all of this stuff, how we ornament things, how we make them interesting, and the tools that we have to go a little bit further than just selecting a patch from an instrument. We have control of these things, and we can control what happens over time, right, with our envelopes. I think we're kind of experts on that now because we understand what attack means, sustain, decay, and release. It's pretty much the contour of the sound, right? And that contour of the sound packaged together is our envelope, right? And every sound that we use, every sound that we hear, is packaged in a way that makes it crisp and clear. You get it, my dear? All right. So check it out. Oh, just to know, if you have questions along the way, please don't hesitate to post in the comments. I'll either address them along our way or during a 5-minute, Q&A towards the end. And if I don't get through them all, I'll definitely get through the questions after the session is over. I'll respond directly. Okay? So how y'all feeling? Feeling good? Okay. This is a quick track I just did to get us warmed up. I'll go through some of what I did here just to show you. I got a chance to utilize one of my favorite tools here is the step sequencer. It's pretty vast. I didn't go so hard with it today for various reasons because I think I want to go that together. Okay, everybody remember that a step is just one measure. And it's broken up into parts. And those parts are divisions of a particular time. And this particular time is divided up into 16 individual quadrants. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, blah, 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 16. You get it? And that is one bar of music. So, you getting that, right? Let me do one thing really quick here so that I can keep what we have. Oops. I want to keep what we have and work from that. Just in case I change something that I didn't really want to do. But yeah, step sequencer. Let's put this on solo so you can hear. Right? Boop, boop, boop. You notice something? It's playing the same thing over and over. Y'all get that? It's playing this same pattern for each bar of our 4-bar section of this track. We can get more complicated. We can make it even more interesting. I added a little bit of chance in it just at one moment here with the hi-hat. But there's so many things that I could do. And there are lots of tools within this step sequencer. Right? But yeah, just I added a 4-on-4 pattern. I want to come back to this and explore some of these things, including the random function. But today is really dedicated to sound design and effects. But this random is quite interesting. And then, on another note, they give you a bunch of patterns you can start from. I haven't particularly found these so useful outside of just studying how other people compose beats. That could be quite interesting, actually, how they compose these patterns. But I always have an idea of what I want things to sound like. So really starting from something and trying to deconstruct it isn't the best manner for me. But for someone who really wants to understand how to utilize the step sequencer, if you go into these patterns, there's quite a bit of information here that you can understand how to get certain rhythms, okay? And also, you can ask me as well. Got it? Got it? Okay, so let's go to the next portion of our song here. And what I put here. Right, this is the sequence bass. It's kind of emulating a TB303 loosely. I could have recorded those movements in the track. I'll do so just to quickly show you. Oh, that's something that I didn't realize. So you can also set recording functions. So over here, where is that at? recording, advanced, recording different functions, right? We don't really want to mess around with that too much, because at this moment what's happening is that it will erase what we did. So after we record a pattern, I'll just re-record the entire pattern, so I'll show you what we do. 2 and 3, and go. Now you see it? It's moving, so I was able to record the automation. How does it sound in context of what we made? Well, let's hear it. So if you just get tired of your patterns and they're just like too static, and you want to add a little bit of, movement, right? To get the feel that, like we're playing this. We're just not programming this. We're in control of the machine, not the machine is in control of we, you, us, me. I control the machine as well as you do too. So let's go back to another part. Quickly break down. Let's see what we got here. All right. Let's get into it here. Play. All right. And we have some controls over here. We can. You see how it went? Attack. What did I just do there? Why don't we hear the sound? It's because I made a long attack. And I made the release very long. See, the attack now is very fast, but the release is very long. So the sound keeps going. I'll pull it back. I'll make it very brief. And then when you hear that, you hear the delay chiming in. And that's a good point to actually go into how we're programming these effects. There are lots of different types of effects. You have compression effects, which are, I should say, different types of effects. You have dynamic processors. And within those dynamic processors, you have things like compressors, expanders, you have limiters, noise gates. You have these type of things that work with the dynamics of the sound, like what's happening, how is it being controlled over time. We can control things over time with our synthesizers by using the envelopes, but we can also use these other tools called dynamic processors. Like, for instance, just imagine a keyboardist playing very softly or very loud. What if I had a piece of music where I was playing and I wanted everything to be heard a certain way, but then one note peaked out? How could I bring up the low tones and bring down, get that? Bring down the higher parts in dynamic range and overall audio and sound, right? So I'm just gonna do here just for a quick experiment, because this is good for us. We like to experiment. We're scientists here. What's got it? Okay. Okay, so I'm just going to play C. So I purposely play some notes louder than others. Now this experiment, I want to bring up the low tones and I want to bring down the high tones within a certain range. How will we do that? We would go into our effects. There's a compressor, a general compressor right here that may work and do that, but I want to show you the compressor with now to turn it off. Do you see something that just happened? Can you hear? It brought down the high and it brought up the low. And what I did is I made a ratio, a very high ratio, so that like I can compress 26 to 1. So it's making this ratio that I'm bringing things down 26 to 1. Okay, the attack, similar to this, because these are controls that kind of follow us through all of our sound design and programming. The attack is starting at 16 milliseconds. So at 16 milliseconds, so you press the key. At 16 milliseconds, maybe, I don't know, let's just say this is 50 milliseconds from here to here, you know, because we're just making estimations, right? So at 16 milliseconds, so right here, the compression starts. And what happens? The ratio of time, the ratio, not of time, but the ratio of compression applied is 26 to 1 at that particular time of 16 milliseconds. That's when the actual compressor is engaged. Okay, if we want it to go faster, let's see what it sounds with 0 milliseconds. Okay, let's bring it. You see what's happening here? We're compressing the sound and we didn't have to play it again. See, these are mixing tools, right? That, you know, actually started in radio many years ago, this compressor thing, right? So, you know, you'd have the disc jockey saying, hey, what's happening? My name is Brother L and I got something for you to listen to, right? So they play music and different things of that nature. But what happens is that early on with the technology that they had is that if things were too loud, the actual amplified antenna transistor, the, you know, how you were actually receiving the radio signal would blow up. So they had to figure a way to make sure that all the signals never go above a certain value. Because they would blow up their transistors. I know that sounds really crazy. Realizing that this could be a creative tool because, well, we can limit this, we can limit other things. And blah, 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 come on back down to today. You can limit dynamics by being a good player, or you could limit dynamics by compression. And limiting can be a creative tool, right? So these are things that are in our... Any questions about compressors? Okay. The key part of a compressor, just to reiterate, one of the key parts about it is how much it's compressing and when does it compress. So every compressor, it may look different. Oh, I didn't do something very important. What about the compressor threshold? So the threshold is a meter of really volume, right? At what volume do we compress? And that affects the overall limit. So it's very little compression being applied. And now we're making everything loud. Everything's loud now, right? It brought the low all the way up, and it just kept the high where it was. And one of the main ways to experiment with compression, like I say, every compressor has these three things: the threshold, ratio, and attack. And then, other compressors have how much, signal will be mixed in. And, we got it almost at 100% on purpose so that, like, we want you to hear the full effect, right? But let's bring this. Everything's now loud, even the low tone. So let's play with the mix. All the way. Now, I'll take the compressor off initially. It brought everything that we did up. Okay. One of the main things in beat making that makes things knock hard is a compressor. If you didn't know, now you know. Okay. So how could we use a compressor for our beats? Let's go back into this one piece here and let's find and open up the compressor. Someone tagging us in Twitter for some reason. Sometimes this happens. It's very weird. I can tell you more about it, but I don't want to waste your time. Okay, let me get one moment here to continue to share what we have here so that we can all be on the same page. In this moment right now, I would love for you to just add my social media and I'll reshare the broadcast. It'll take me about 30 seconds. Okay, gang. We Bizak in the physic again. Yes, we have some things that we have to surmount when we are live streaming. Sometimes the connections don't connect, and then they connect in a way that they want to connect, but it's important that we're connected. All right, so let's get back into how to make your drums knock with compression. Okay, so I brought up the compressor again. So, So, compressor, threshold, ratio, attack, gain, mix. So let's I think I should probably solo this. Actually, let's duplicate this and let's utilize let's utilize this sound here. Pressure. Play. Right, okay, cool. So that one will be live, so we can actually change drums. That was my whole point. Right, okay, cool. Okay. Let's put in chance it'll happen. Like, it won't happen every time. See? It'll happen. Got it? That was the way I can use chance. But now let's get back to the effects. Plug in, and we're going to go to compressor. It'll open up. Okay, so right now, let's turn up the ratio all the way. And let's play with the mix. All of the effect is applied. And let's scroll through the compression threshold. When the volume of this kit gets a certain place, it'll start to compress more. Right? Now, the attack real fast. You notice it kind of made everything thin. Give it a little bit of room to move. Start to make those drums real fat. And then we can change the mix so we can have some affected signal and some signal that is not affected. It's not affected at all. That's our original drum. Now don't get fooled by how loud something is versus the texture, how fat something is. That could confuse you. So if you need to put on some headphones and whatnot, that's the reason why I'm pumping out good sound for you, so that you can actually hear these things that we're doing when we're working together. So let's listen to more of the affected signal. Right? That's slick, huh? I want to turn these velocity. Sound better than before, right? Okay. Now, the gain portion is rather simple. After all of this, is your track or your sound, is it loud enough or soft enough? So, because effectively we made everything louder, but we also changed the texture of the sound. And this gives you another control to bring it back. Fine. Is it too loud? It's too soft. So we can bring it up, bring it down. I think that's fairly clear. One thing when I was a lot younger, over hundreds of years ago, that confused me about a compressor was it actually working? That's the main. Am I doing something? Can I hear it? So let me give you a quick trick that could help you understand it if the compressor is actually working or not. Always remember to go with the fastest, I'm sorry, the largest ratio that the compressor has to offer. So in this case, this compressor has a 30-to-1 ratio, and it goes down from there. 1-to-1 is obviously nothing; it's unaffected. You know, and you get, 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, right? Turn it all the way up, and then turn your threshold to 0. Crank it all to 0, meaning that nothing is going to be affected. Okay, and then turn your mix all the way up. The attack, I would, give it some attack, and then what I would do is I would play my piece, and then I would bring the threshold down to hear at what volume things are being affected. And this is under the category of dynamic processors because effectively we're working with dynamics, but not playing. We're controlling these with the machine, a machine that helps us limit the signal. There's also a thing called a limiter, which is a compressor, effectively. But its job is to limit a particular sound, tone, from going further than whatever you set. So let's see if there's room to add a limiter. So we're not using this bit crusher. Let's go right here. What's this one? Let's go edit. We'll add one here. We'll use, is there a limiter here? There is not. I guess this program doesn't have I want to say I've seen a limiter, but I guess I didn't. Maybe I didn't. It works the same as a compressor. We're just trying to show you two different types of. A limiter would do is the same here, is that it will lock in at a very high ratio to say that you will never go over this amount. Boom. And then you set all the other controls the same way I showed you. It's still a compressor. So it's nothing different. I just thought that GarageBand had one, but apparently it doesn't. Or maybe it does under Master Effects. No. No, it doesn't. But that's cool. And then we're going back. Okay. So now that we have our pattern back in here, do we want to change anything? We can randomize this. You see, I just clicked, brought up this panel. We could randomize this step. It's making new versions. I use that sometime when I don't have a clear idea of what I want to do. Use the velocity, how loud you want it. You can use chance. Do I always want it to be in or not? If you click and hold, the percentages get larger so you can actually see what's going on. This is almost, it's always going to play. At 100%, it'll always play. 50%, it'll play 50% of the times, right? This is super clear. 35% of the times. Then we go back to our step on and step off. That's how you actually program. How did I do that? I just clicked and dragged. Kept my finger down, drag. Do it again. That's one of those quick ways to do it. Cause like, for instance, we go here. And then you could actually change the drums while you're doing this. Rolling TR-606, baby. Rolling TR-8. 808, excuse me. TR-8 was the, yeah, that was a clone version of the original that Roland made. Y'all recognize all these sounds. Woo. Put some chance in there. Now, that's just one bar. So if I want to record that in, I can. But remember, I should probably always record on the 1, 2, and 3, and 4 is going in, and again. See, you see it scrolling? Right, and that's how you record your step. Okay, so we got that. That's clear. Another thing is the time-based effect, right? Time-based effects are like delays, things that, well, in GarageBand's world, it's called echo, but we can make it the official name. It's delays, and they really change how things are being timed and introduced, right? They're copies of the signal. So to simplify, that's the reason why GarageBand uses the term echo. But echo is just like, hello, 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 hello. Have you played with your echo before? Before? Yes. Are there any places in your environment, let's just say your house, where you hear sound differently? I'm gonna go to the chat. I'm interested in knowing, how do you hear sounds in your home? Is there an echo? Do you hear reverb? Okay. Let's see. Cool, we back. Word up. All right, welcome, Happiness. Got Sydney in the house. Word up. Yes, y'all. Okay. So, delay. Let's get to it. So, a good way to explain what delay would probably be to record what we have here. But let's not, I really like this. I kind of want to come back to it as is. So I don't want to delete it out, but I want to have less parts when I utilize the delay, because I think it will make more sense to you. So what I'll do here is I'll duplicate this, and then I'll record this one, and we'll work from there. Okay, so now we're going to work from this. Sorry. Double click, click doubles. Get me every time. So I'm going to erase some of these points. So now we have something super clear. So when you hear the affected signal, you'll be able to understand what's going on. Okay. That's clear. It's going boop, tap, doop, tap. Bass drum on every beat. Snare on every other beat. On the 2 and 4. So let me ask you a funny question. What beat do you dance on? Do you dance on the 1 or you dance on the 2? I want to know who's in here. Post up in the comments. What beat do you dance on? I want to know if there's some rhythmatic people up in this class today. All right. So let's get to this effect portion. So we're going to plugins, effects, then we're going to add. We're going to add, so right here where it says none. And we're going to add a track echo. So you got repeats here. You hear it going tap, tap, tap. It's repeating every 1/4. We can change that. Oh, we don't change it there. We change it here. So you can just click that box. Okay, repeat was also known as feedback. How many times you get that copy and how long for the copy. Color is kind of what you would call EQ. Do you want a clean delay, meaning that like, do you want an exact copy of what you just had, or do you want it to sound like it's been degraded a little bit? This is how you signify the type of delay, because early on people use tape. So tape degrades over time. So anytime you copy a signal in tape recording, it's not the same anymore. Okay, but then there was digital delay that allowed you to have an exact copy every time. So let's see here. With no, that's exact copy every time. But like if I bring it all the way down, it'll be muted. Let's see. Can you hear the tonality, the tonal difference between those two? Exact copy. It's almost as if they filtered off the top end, the top part of the frequency. And, oh, how would we see that? With our analyzer, our EQ. We can actually see that. So I want you to pay attention right up in this area and see if you see any more frequencies when I come back. Doesn't it seem like a lot more activity in the 2K to 10K range? Pay attention now, look at it. Study it for a second. Lock it in your mind. And I'll bring it back and I'll do it one more time. Okay, you get it? So these are tools. If you can't hear it, you can see it. If you can't see it, you can hear it. Sometimes it's good to use a combination of your sight and your ears. But effectively, we're making music, so I would say listening is probably the most important, right? Because your eyes can deceive you, but your ears are listening very clearly. Dry is exactly what it means. It means we got this effect applied. How much of the dry signal, the unaffected, do we want to hear? That's the unaffected signal. So everything turned up. Now we only hearing the wet. Wet means the affected signal. So those two things you'll always see in delays. The actual signal, that's what happened right before we actually, that's that signal right here. When I'm turning it off now. That's what we started with. The dry signal. How much of that we want in there. And the wet is how much of the affected signal we want. And the repeats, like I say, are feedback. How many times this will go. I keep pointing to our envelope. This is so important to remember because it has aspects and applications in every sound that we utilize. The moment something happens is the attack. The sustain sound, that's the sustain. The decay is when, what is the decay? Can someone tell me? We've talked about it enough. Anybody? Somebody, let me know what we're working with. Somebody tell me what the decay is, or we'll have to stay here. The decay is the amount of time it takes for the envelope to decrease the specific sustain level. And then, once you let up off your sound, is the release, right? This little quick delay kind of makes me really think about, like, you know, some new wave stuff though. I'm liking that a lot. I feel like, is it compressed enough? Ooh. That's one way to use time-based effects. That's so good. We're going to keep that. And I'm going to delete all this other stuff because I think that that's what we'll build off of. That sounds really interesting to me. And all that is 2 drums. The kick on every beat, snare on every beat. Okay? There's another thing. Let's get back into our effects that we utilize a lot, or attempt to anyway, is our equalizer, our visual EQ. Something I recently found out is that we can expand the entire screen. I really wasn't paying attention to it. So now you can see it even further. So more elaborate EQs give you different points that you can actually utilize so that you can hear these points. I just turned the bass up. So that went everything up from 20 hertz to, let's just say, 500 hertz. I could pull some of the frequency off. Sometimes it's cool to allow, especially in your bass and then some of your drums, to allow to cut off some of the super low end. I know that sounds kind of weird. Why would we want to cut off any low end? Well, if we think about available space, like available space on this table, I mean, I have certain things here, and, you know, for instance, this iPad occupies a certain space. You know, this occupies a certain space, right? So does the frequency spectrum. So if you got a bass guitar, some drums, you have keyboards, you have singers, you have guitars, you have whatever you want. You have all of these different things effectively on this table. And you need to make space so everyone can be socially distanced. Okay. But kind of for real though, like seriously though, you know, you need your space within this sound spectrum to operate. Because if you have too many competing sounds at competing frequencies, what happens? You get mud and things aren't so clear. Right now, mud is impossible because we just have on just one drum. Okay? So, how y'all feeling about those effects? Okay, I showed you a little bit about EQ. EQ is also effectively a filter effect in some ways because you can filter off frequencies, right? You can add and you can curve off things, okay? Another thing that could be quite interesting I'll add is reverb. So let's see if we can go into plugins, and if there's an available space, let's put it, let's echo there. We don't really want overdrive, so let's pull overdrive out and delete it. And let's put in reverb. So let's hear what this sounds like. Okay, class, what's reverb? Reverb is a simulation of a room. Every sound we hear has a space. And how we perceive that space is important. Because this is how we design sounds that remind people and ourselves of where they were from. You know, is this a drop of a pen on a table? Or is it a drop of a pen in a cavern that, you know, you hear like, right? Now, we can use these tools to create. In this particular case, that's what we got here with this reverb. Let's start with time. Time is probably one of the most important things in reverb. Let's see if I can I just want to play an instrument at a time so you can hear how it affects the time. It takes 11.5 seconds for this reverb curve to stop. If you actually counted it out. Let's do it sooner. That's one funny thing about this program here. Sometimes it feels that my fingertips have been rubbed off, you know, but they're not. Oh, go ahead. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't hear it anymore by 4. So this is pretty accurate. Let's try this now. 2 seconds. Let's see. We'll count to 3. 1, 2. You didn't hear it anymore, right? But if we bring it up to 16, same sound. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can still hear it, right? Okay. So why is this important? And how do we utilize this to make something interesting for ourselves? Like I say, it's about your perception and how we want to build this and mix colors. You know, I could liken this experience to what a painter would do when they draw something or paint something and they paint it in a particular environment. Okay, so then that puts you in the mood of, well, if they paint a bedroom, Well, you think of bedroom type of things that happen in the bedroom. They paint a schoolroom. You think of things that happen in a schoolroom, right? So, but this is art, right? So you can mix and match things based on your own creativity. You can design a sound that, is in a cave, but put it in someone's house because the track is happening in someone's house. Y'all vibing? Is that making sense to you? Meaning that there are no rules to this. It's just that I want you to understand how to apply these things. So let's go. I kind of like this shorter reverb. Turn it off so you can hear it different. Right? Now remember, we can apply the dry. That's all effect. And applying too much reverb will make things locked out, washed out. That's without reverb at all. There may be a little bit of overall ambient reverb for the entire track, a little bit, but you notice something similar with reverb and delay? They're still kind of copies of a sound over time. Reverb, smaller copies of that sound. Delay tend to be have more time between the separations. So effectively, they're kind of doing a similar thing. And you can utilize them to do a similar thing. I would say that some synthesizers come with delays and they don't come with reverbs. You can make a delay something like a reverb. You can't make a reverb. So it also depends on the type and the quality and how many controls you have on the reverb. But traditionally, they both do different things based on the fact that they're trying to get different effects. Okay. I tend to think that delay is probably the most useful effect one can have. Delay and EQ. If you have an equalizer and a delay, you can go very far. There's many different iterations of effects, so many to name. But those two you can go very far with. Okay, and spread for this one is the stereo spectrum. How much do we spread out this reverb sound? What do you like? You hear that ringing? Dang. We can cut it off. You hear the high cut? That's just the EQ. It's just cutting off frequencies above 4,500 hertz. So effectively making your reverb brighter or duller. Duller, brighter. I like that. Okay. Now, let's add a little something there to go along with this. I'm gonna erase this so we won't get influenced by what we heard before. Okay, let's see what we got here. And then dun, 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 dun. Okay. Some folks were asking me, how do I get through different parts to select different instruments. You see what I just did? I clicked the area where the instrument is, and then this comes up. It gives me all of these sounds. In these sounds right here, I have more. I have Alchemy Synth here. Right? And if I want to get back to the main categories, you see at the top, it's blue. It'll bring me back. This is the main category. Okay, and you have others. Oh, others. Brooklyn Fields Chord. What's that? Oh. Wow. I've never went to the other section. These are cool. Wow. Cool, cool, cool. Let's see what else they Onyx tape. So they've kind of treated these like samples, actually. That's cool, and then they've pitched them. These are really cool, and they're very characteristic, and they're so well produced. I'm going to stay away from them because, well, I'm sure lots of people use those. So let's figure out how we can make sounds like those on our own. Synth Classics. Scale. Yeah. Machine learning. I'm liking something here. I'm going to change it to minor. Miss my cue. Make sure our quantize is on so it'll be straight 1/16 notes, so it'll lock it in. Because we want this to be real on the money. So let's go back to some of the things that we already have in here. Where should we go with this? Okay. I got it. We're gonna go this with a different sound. That's what I'm listening for. It locked it in, but remember it has to go back around. It's so weird, but it's what it does. Okay, we lock that in. I need to find another synthesizer. Synth classics. I'm just working with these classics. What should I play, gang? See, what I would wish here is I had it's kind of, let's try this. Maybe it's no. It's close. Let's make it work. I'll change it later. It's a place marker. Bring it down a little bit. Okay, now let's go back to this. Find this bass situation. Now we'll duplicate, and let's find us some bass to play. bass, synth bass. And remember, I want to utilize the arpeggiator today. I want to go down instead of as played. Oh, it didn't keep it. Okay. Down. But that's not the sound. Y'all remember, we're gonna go down. No, not what I'm looking for. Well, this is new wave. Let's see what this new wave bass sounds like. You hear that like it's too much attack on it? But you get where I'm going now, right? Let's try that one. Arpeggiator. Now we're getting somewhere. Hey, this live. I'm creating this for real. What should I put in here, y'all? What it is all about? Yeah. What happened? Let me check and see what's going on here with the gang. 1 second here. While I do this, I'm gonna take a time out. Make sure you add social media, and let's see what's going on here in the chats and see where I should go. Let's see here. Okay. Well, all right. And we're back. Back as in backity back. Back. Check this out. We're going somewhere. We're a bit over time. But I wanted to make sure that we understood about dynamic processors, time-based effects, EQ filters, which are filter effects. You know, equalizers are their own thing, which we've learned to utilize them as a creative tool. There are filters within this program here that allow us to change the frequency content of the song, the sound, right? Okay, that's important. Let's see here. Where should we go? I need something to add. I gotta find a good sound, and it's gotta be great. It's okay. You're not necessarily late. You're just early for next week. That's okay. We are here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 1 p.m. CST, Central Standard Time. My name is Brother L. Let's record that. starting to see something here. I'm starting to see something that I think I like. Don't have enough attack on it. What about this one? I want to just select these out, click and hold. Select. I want to make sure this kind of does a little bit of movement. You hear it? Phrasing. Meow. Remember that part that I was like, we're gonna come back to that? And we can come back to it again. like that a lot. These are all different drums that I put in there earlier. But let's add our own. Let's put that in there. 2, 3, go. Thank God for the quantization, because I didn't play that right, but it snapped everything in place. All right, let's get to the other one. Make some of this track today. Put that in there. What sound should we put in now to go out on top? We need something like this hollow. Normally that's a square wave. Let's try a lead synth. That's kind of cool, huh? Let's record that in. Where did we start? 2 and 3 and 4, go. Actually, I'm not gonna record the movements in. I'm just gonna play it. And then I'll be able to improvise by going through these different iterations of that sound. I forgot to take off record. 1, 2, and 3, we can go. right in almost the middle of that quadrant right here. We'll keep the sound there for a second. And then that's only to be in at a good moment where we can actually turn it down a little bit. That bass got to come up. Let's bring that bass up. Now we got something together here, we'll perform it on out. And we'll get back into some things on Monday about effects. I like to let you know that this was all improvisational. So you were working with me through the structure, and that all of these sessions are archived. I don't take them down, but they're cleaned up a little bit better on YouTube, and that link is in the comments as well. If not, ask me for it. But basically, it's Brother L. It's called, my channel is called Composed by L. So it's, you know, you can look it up. But I'll make sure the link is in the chat as well. How should we proceed and progress this track? I'll work on it over the weekend if you tell me in the comments what needs to happen. Okay? Do we have any thoughts about dynamic processes and how they can be utilized, you know, to tailor and contour our sounds with our envelopes, our attack, sustain, decay, release, right? We're always going back to that. Just kind of to refocus and think about that we have a lot of tools within GarageBand to make these sounds exactly the way we want them, okay? And I want to thank you for your time, and let me jam out with this real quick. gonna let these beats rock. If you got ideas of how we can build this song out, let me know. I'm with it. Loving the beats, baby. Come on. That bass back in, and we're gonna drop it on down once again. Maybe I'll put this in just for the heck of it. I should be. Banner. Again. Yeah. Here we go now. And we out. Boom, dum, dum. This has been Brother L's Beatmaking Sessions. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I did. We went a little longer, but the transmission got interrupted. I will assess this track and, tweak it up. It's a great starting place. And remember, everything we do here is improvisational. So I have some ideas where I like to go, but these ideas are influenced by you. That's what makes it collaborative, and then we're learning together. So until Monday, I'll see you all. Continue to create. And if you have questions, remember, put them in the comments right now, okay? If you really don't understand compression, reverb, the dynamic range of certain instruments, really what an equalizer is doing, we should address those things, and we can address those things in the chat.